What's going on, pickleballers? Welcome back to Selkirk University, your home for product education, comparisons, tips, and really just all things Selkirk. Now in today's video, I wanted to talk about a hot button topic, and that is power paddles. Now, if you've been around pickleball at all this year, you know that power paddles are all the buzz. Everybody's wanting to get their hand on a power paddle. But something interesting that I've found is that oftentimes I'll put a paddle in someone's hand and I'll ask them to rate the paddle on a scale of 1 to 10, and they'll give me a number. Then I'll put a different paddle in their hand that has a completely different feel, and I'll ask them to, again, rate the power on a scale of 1 to 10, and they'll look back at me and they'll kind of have a confused look on their face like, I don't really know which one was more powerful. And I feel like there's a distinction in today's game that really needs to be made and addressed so that people understand how to describe the feel of a pickleball paddle so that they know exactly what they're looking for. And that is the distinction between power and pop. Now let me kind of explain and break down the difference in what I mean by power versus pop. So first let's talk about power. In my opinion, power paddles have to do with contacting a ball that is at rest or not moving very fast. So for example, if I were to serve the ball, that ball is pretty much at rest when I make contact with it. Or maybe I'm gonna get a ball that kind of floats up in the air that I'm gonna put away, or maybe a drive that kind of bounces a little higher that I'm really trying to hit through. That would be an example of power. But pop, on the other hand, refers to how the paddle responds when given pace or given energy. Let me explain. So a great way to understand how poppy a paddle is to counter the ball, or even if you were to return the ball. Maybe somebody hits a big serve at you and your ability to kind of effortlessly return the ball deep into the court would be an indicator that that paddle has great pop. So for example, I have two different paddles in my hand. This is a 10mm version, the tour shape of the 008. This is the 16mm of the same paddle and the Invicta shape. So if I were to kind of rank paddles on a scale of control to power, you have control paddles here, you have power paddles here, and then you have hybrid paddles somewhere in the middle. And there's always this dichotomy amongst players that really want a lot of power, but then they can't control the ball, or players that can control the ball, but they want more put away power, or maybe they want more pop. Now, I would say that the Project 008 falls somewhere in that hybrid plus category. So just kind of between hybrid and power, you're gonna have the Project 008, but these paddles are gonna feel completely different even though they're both hybrid plus paddles. Because the 16mm is going to have plus power, meaning you're gonna feel really good when you're serving the ball, or if you were to put away a ball that was floating above you. But you're not gonna feel the same responsiveness from this paddle if you were going to counterattack or return. That's one of the reasons I like returning with this paddle, because I really like to get through my return and let my hands go and not feel like I have to cut my swing short like I do with some poppier paddles. Then we have the 10mm version, which this is also a hybrid plus paddle, but it is a lot more poppy than the 16mm version. Now the 10mm version does have good power as well, but it's going to have more pop, and I do feel like that added pop just helps me come out on top in hands battles and things like that. So I just wanted to make this distinction for people because I feel like this is often a misconception in the pickleball space. So the next time that you're looking for your perfect paddle, I want you to think about, do I want more pop or do I want more power? You can let me know in the comments below what you prefer. And moving forward in these videos, I'll be sure to use these terms power and pop to describe our upcoming launches so that you have a paddle that fits best for your play style. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.